Well, hello there, and welcome to a Halloween edition of ASMR. Today, I would like to tell you a story, a quite disturbing and very strange story. So sit back and relax if you can, as I tell this tale, and hope you don't scream in the process. It started a long time ago in a setting just as this. It was a dark, dreary night, and a man named Ichabod decided to take a stroll. He stepped outside his cabin, and he walked into the woods, for reasons we still do not understand. But he chose to. Perhaps he's heard something, or perhaps he had seen something and wanted to check it out. That is neither here nor there. As we return to our story, we go about Ichabod's trip into the woods. He was quite frightened, as it was a full moon that night. The moon, oh, did it glow in the sky. It was quite beautiful, but also quite terrifying. The wolves were out that night. There were a lot of them. Every few minutes or so, you'd hear them howling. Dozens, maybe even hundreds of wolves. As he stepped deeper and deeper into the forest, he heard something. Perhaps it was the rustling of the trees from the wind, or it could have been squirrels or some kind of a rodent. Or it could have been something else. As he kept walking deeper and deeper into the forest, the sounds grew closer. He turned around quickly, but he did not see anything. Nothing was there. So he continued on his stroll, still unsure of what he was looking for. And he kept walking. You can hear the leaves crackle between his shoes and the ground. And all of a sudden, snap! He was frightened, but he had realized he had only stepped on a twig. He picked up the twig, and he looked at it. And he said to himself, "Oh, thank God it was only a twig." When suddenly, something passed him from behind. He looked again quickly, in fear, but nothing was there. He started to doubt his trip into the forest. But he was determined to find whatever it was he was looking for. So he had a quicker pace as he went deeper into the forest. He started to slow down, and the sounds went away. It was quiet again. All you could hear was the chirping of the crickets. It carried on this way for the next few minutes, and he kept walking. The leaves were crackling under his feet. They kept crackling. When suddenly in the sky, up in the tree, he saw these two beady eyes, glowing brightly. He was startled and stepped back for a moment. As he looked and looked, into the eyes. He saw an owl. It was just an owl. The eyes were reflecting from the moon. His heart suddenly went back to normal, as it was startled from the sight of those eyes. He started to walk again, and he walked, when suddenly underneath his legs was a rustling and a brushing against him. He could feel it. He could feel it. It was hairy, but not too hairy, but the hairs were needly. They prickled him as he walked. He started to run as fast as he could, and behind him he heard a thump, and a thump, and a thump. He was too afraid to look, so he kept running, and the sounds got quicker and louder, and he felt for some reason something was going to dive at him, so he jumped to the ground, and he saw it run past him as he fell. He decided to change his direction in his journey, and he headed the opposite direction. And then he heard it again, a thump, a thump. Something was chasing him. He did not know what it was, but he knew he had to get out of there as soon as he could. He had to run as fast as he could. And then again, it lunged at him, but he jumped to the ground. And he saw it sped off in front of him. So he got up slowly, looked around, and started his running again. But this time, he wasn't running away from it. It was running towards him, and he could see it. It was a beast. It was 5 feet tall, on its own legs, and if it stood up, he swears it could be at least 12 feet tall. So he jagged to the side, and it chased him once more, but he was able to pull in front. He ran. He ran. Did he run? Oh, did he run? His door was so close ahead. Thankfully, he did not lock it. So he jumped inside and closed the door, locked it with every lock he had, and a bang hit the door. The creature was there. He did not know what to do. He was afraid, so he boarded up every window he had. Bang, bang, as the creature hit the door. He cowered on the ground, praying for it to go away. But for the next 2 hours were the worst. It paced and paced around his house all night long. But those first 2 hours were the worst, as it grinded its claws up against his house. It was playing with him. He knew it for sure. He was being taunted by this beast. Curiosity grew to him, so he approached his window, a one with a wood with a slight little hole, so he looked out it, and nothing was there. He thought it went away, but he wouldn't want to go outside, so he kept looking. And with a slight reflection of the moon, he saw it in the distance, staring right at him. It stood up on all 2 legs with 4 in the end. He had all 4 legs spread out. He saw it. It was a giant behemoth, much bigger than he had anticipated. It was about 15 feet tall. He fell backwards and smashed into the ground, and he sat there for a moment or 2. Then he decided to look out again through the hole. And bam! He was face to face with it, eye to eye. So he fell back again, and the creature walked away. But as it did, you could see its entire body pass through the hole. frightened he was. Frightened indeed. Eventually the fear had overcome him, and it knocked him out, and he passed out. Until the light hit him through the hole. It was morning, about 7:30. So he got back up, and he looked out the hole, and all he could see was the trees and the rest of his property. So, slowly but surely, he opened the door, and he walked outside. The creature was gone. He was safe again. But as he looked, his house was marked all around. He did not understand it, but as he tried to figure, it looked like an image of many of the same creature. It had drawn itself, and it had basically told him, there are more, and more will come. So Ichabod ran to his town, and told everyone, and showed them the markings. They were taken back, and they believed in a story that was once told years before. Everyone believed it was just a saying, a belief. It had been talked about a long time ago that Satan himself had created a monster to stay in the land of the living and kill as many as it could, but not kill them right away, but to taunt them, and taunt them, and haunt their dreams, so they feel fear their entire lives. So Ichabod thought about this, and realized he thought he was lucky, but it turns out he's been targeted. So he packed up his bags and left. Until this day, the creature has not been seen. But one day, Ichabod fears it will follow him and finish the job. So, as many believe, the monster's deed was done, that fear was stricken into the heart of Ichabod. And he just prayed that will be the end. Thank you for enjoying this story, this Halloween story. I will see you later.